Hey, it's Dawn here with Dee Creates Crafts. Today, we are gonna take one piece of cardstock and make two projects. We're gonna make a treat box, we're gonna make a gift card. Look, they coordinate. Let's get started and let's get crafting. We wanna save time, so we're gonna get right to work. Save time, save money, that's how we like to craft, isn't it? All right, here is the one piece of paper, 8.5 by 11. We are just gonna chop it right in half at 5.5. So both these pieces of paper are going to be our projects for today. So we're gonna take the one and let's gonna start with the box. There we go, the little treat box. So putting the short side against the end of your trimmer or your score board, we on the long sides are going to score at 1/2 inch. On both long sides, so just flip it right around, and on both the long sides, we are gonna score at 1/2 inch. Then, on the shorter sides, which means your long side is up against the edge, we are gonna score at 2 1/4. 2 1/4. We are gonna score at 2 3/4. Then we're gonna score at 6.5, and then we're gonna score at 7. Did I do 6.5? I pray. Yep, and 7. I am so grateful I followed the rules. Don't y'all hate it when you get your numbers mixed up and your math or your scoring or your cutting and you cut the wrong spot? I'm like, oh my goodness, do I start over now? The answer is always yes, isn't it? This is the cutest, sweetest project. One piece of paper, coordinating card and gift box. I mean, how cute is that? I wish I'd scored this more, is what I wish. I am just gonna really give it a nice little burnish, is what I'm thinking. All right, that works pretty good. Make sure your poor little score lines are deep enough and you're not too deep, am I right? All right, so we've got our 1/2 inch section on this longer side. And flip her right around, and we're gonna burnish this side with the 1/2 inch. Now you've got a little bit of a longer piece and a shorter piece. So what we want to do is cut on the shorter side, because this could be our top. The little rectangle, I almost called it a square, it's like 1/2 inch by 1 inch, let's say. And we're gonna cut that right off on both sides of the smaller triangle. Now we're gonna continue and just create our little flappies. So there's a flap. I'm just gonna go a little bit of an angle there. They always turn into themselves a little nicer when we give it a little angle. I have to cut first, and then I want a little bitty bit of an angle. So now we're gonna flip it around to the other side, and we're gonna leave that flap intact, the 1/2 inch, but we are gonna cut on both sides of this like 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch little flap. All right, so we've got that one done, and let's do one more side, and then we're gonna get to gluing everything down. We're gonna use a little bit of tear and tape as well. But what a cute little last minute Christmas gift, if you will, but I'm gonna call it Christmas because 'tis the season. However, we can make this all year long, don't you think? All right, so I wanna get my tear and tape, but before we do, we are gonna decorate. So I want you to cut 2 pieces of print paper, 2-sided print paper, because guess what? They're gonna coordinate beautifully. So on the top part, we're gonna adhere the smaller one. This is 1 1/4 by 4 1/4. So where's my bottom? Yep, I'm gonna do this part. So your shorter piece is actually the top of your box. I like glue because you saw it got a little wonky, but while the glue's still wet, I can still move it around a little bit. What will you put in your box? What would you put in your treat box? Here's some of the ideas I came up with. Hot cocoa, the little packets. And then in the green box, I've got a belly band. I just put a little healthy snack. So you could put some candy, you could put some prepackaged cookies, you could put the cocoa packet, whatever you like, depending who you're giving it to, am I right? So this could be our bottom. These little flaps are gonna fold in. We're going to adhere with our tear and tape, and I'm gonna tell you the secret I found by experimenting. You want to put it closer to the fold as opposed to closer to the end, all right? So here we go on the other side, and again, I'm gonna go closer to the fold and not closer to the edge. So let's give it a little burnish, and then I'm gonna pick it up. You can see a little piece. I just took that right off, didn't I? All right, come on up, little guy. There we go. There we go. And this, we're gonna fold up. So you can see it's our skinny part at the bottom there. And I'm gonna close it. And if we have scored correctly, guess what? This is just gonna pinch together beautifully. Look at our beautiful edge. And same with this side, we're gonna fold it under and then bring our edges together. Can you see how it's forming the box now? Precious, right? So then these tabs fold in and it folds down and the lid just meets the bottom of your box. The box is done. So now what we're gonna do to hold it closed is work on a belly band. So this is going to be step 4 of your box, is creating a belly band. You need your 12 inches by 1.5 strips. So we could do this side, we could do this side. I think that is precious. I'm gonna do this side. I'm not gonna tell you to score because we're just gonna hold it in place and give it a little bend here and there. We like simple. And for me, not having measurements is simple. And with belly bands, I know you've experienced this as well. It's better if they're not skin tight. I'll make sure that's okay. Yeah. Versus, I'm just looking how much I want to cut off or how much I want to leave. Just kind of eyeball it, you guys, and pick some off. I think you could easily glue this, but because we have to wait for glue to dry, I'm gonna use more tear and tape to get my little baby belly band to stay in place. And then I'm gonna fold it right back over my box so I make sure it closes. And yes, I am putting my seam towards the top. I wasn't able to get a good, there I go, a good pinch, which is why I took it off my box. Now I like the way it fits, the way it looks. I've now got a little, how cute is that? Just a little label with a sentiment stamped. Now, because it's white, I want it to stand out a little bitty bit, and I'm gonna lay it flat. I'm not gonna pop that up. So what I decided to do is just take, a marker and just go along the edge, just barely tipping the tip of your pen, and you'll get just a hair of dark color. You could have used black for this. I chose to use red just to make it a little more festive. All right, so that's just gonna make it stand out just a little bitty bit more than it would normally. So, okay, let's put some glue in the center here and put our little label right down flat. Now you could pop this up if you want. I just choose to make this flat. For me, for right now, it's gonna work. I'm gonna add a little more glue on that end and a little more glue on this end. Hold it in place a little bitty bit and then put it back. And I'm gonna put some cute baby sequins all over it. I could have put a ribbon like I did the green one, and I'll pull that over for you, and that would be beautiful. You have the options to add ribbon or, whoops, that little baby flower plum stuck to my finger. Did you see that? And I think I'd also like, there I go. I'm gonna put a snowflake down here. I just thought, how cute is that? That it matchy-matchies my paper, you know? I'm getting glue on everything, you guys. Can you see this? Oh my goodness. The sequins, they're not behaving very nicely. Let's put another one right there. And we're almost ready for our little card. Our matchy-matchy card. I love coordinating items and matching. I'm gonna do another one. Let's do another flower up top here. Then we'll have our 5 embellishments, because what do I say? I always like uneven numbers. If you have crafted with me before, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So your treat book box is complete. Here's the green one. The green one I did put a bow. And we're gonna put a bow or ribbon on our greeting card. So we'll see how you like that. And then it tucks in, slides right up. Cute, right? So you can see, you can decide, do you want your belly band to have a ribbon or not have a ribbon? So now what we're gonna do is make our greeting card. So I'm gonna bring that in. And it's the other piece of our cardstock, all right? So step 1 with your cardstock is just to grab the extra half. Then you're gonna score it at 4 1/4, and then on the top side, I want you to cut off 1 3/4. So I'm gonna line mine up. Oh my goodness gracious. Did you see it move? What a disaster it would have been. But saved from the disaster. So I cut that off, we're gonna put it aside, and now what is left is 2 1/2 for the top of your card, all right? So now what we're gonna do, step 2, that was step 2. Step 3 is our decorating pieces. So with your designer paper, your print paper, 2-sided, we're gonna cut 2 pieces exactly the same, 5 1/4 by 2 1/4. And then we're gonna adhere, I'm gonna do this one up top here, and then this one towards the bottom. 2 1/4, 1 1/4, let me look. 2 pieces, 5 1/4, 2 1/4. This looks a little large, so let me look. It is, I did 2 1/2, so I'm gonna lob off a little baby bitty bit and get us to 2 1/4. You can always tell, can't you, when it doesn't fit your desired project? You're like, what? All right, so I'm gonna put the pretty print part up top because I really want it matching my box. Get my glue, and I'm gonna glue this down on the top outside of my card. Then I'm gonna do the opposite effect on the bottom. And by effect, I just mean I'm flipping my pretty print paper over. So that looks pretty, but we're also now gonna add cardstock that we would write our sweet message. And we're gonna overlap the print paper, yet line it up on the inside so that when we close our card, it's gonna look like this. So then what we're gonna do is add another sentiment. I added a different label just to have it a little different, but isn't this gonna be just darling with the coordination of it all? So let's go ahead and tie some ribbon because I did not put one on the belly band. So I'm going to see if I wanna tie it or if I wanna glue it and then tie it. We can either tie us a bow. Yeah, that might be enough, huh? You can either tie it or glue it down and then tie a bow on top, whichever is easiest for you. I did the gluing on top with my first one, so I'm living dangerously by doing this on camera. And it may work and it may not, but we shall see, we shall see. Tying a bow. It's a little too loose for me, so I'm gonna go ahead and glue it down. If you don't mind, All right, I'm gonna make sure the same side, line it up, give it a haircut. And we're just going to adhere it down. I'm not going to use glue because I want it to be finished for you to see. Yeah, I like the way this is turning out much better. It just feels like it's gonna be a little more, yeah, just a little more practical for what